had a ton of people who joined the party the month after that election.
Right.
And I expect that if Romney were to lose to Obama this time, that we'd probably have a similar amount of phone calls. There's two ways to really look at this. There's two things that I find. Yes, we are significantly more active. You hear the word libertarian far more often than you used to. Ron Paul has a huge effect in that. And the fact that the word is just becoming more mainstream. More people are finding out what a libertarian is and what we believe, and more people are identifying themselves as libertarians. In California in 2010, here in Indiana, we don't register people by party. You choose a primary ballot to vote, and that sort of effectively registers you. But in California, you can go to the county clerk and pick a party. And in 2010, the Republican and the Democratic parties lost registrants by a massive amount. And the Libertarian Party was the only party in that state to grow and to gain new registrants. And the Libertarian Party really is the only third party standing. And I don't even like to use the word third party. I mean, I think libertarians have to embrace the fact that we are growing and become more powerful and more relevant, and we need to not take on that status of third party, and we need to have a little bit more confidence in what we're able to achieve.
How long has it?
And a lot of the fourth parties, like the Green Party, the Constitution Party, the Reform Party, they don't have national staffs, they don't have ballot access in almost any state. Here in Indiana, the Green Party is the only other party that manages to run at least one candidate a cycle. So the Libertarian Party really is the only third alternative that the United States voter really has anymore.
How long has the Libertarian Party been around? I know the principles it's based on has been around since the birth of our country, but how long has the actual party itself been around? Yeah, you're right. The Libertarian movement has been around for a long time, especially in the 20th century, and it was always sort of an undercurrent of the Republican Party. You had people like Taft, the Ohio governor who ran for president, that actually Ron Paul mentions a lot as an influence. And then you had the Goldwater presidential campaign was sort of the culmination of that libertarian influence in the Republican Party sort of bubbling to the top. And the Goldwater campaign failed so miserably against LBJ that it was sent back underground. And there were a lot of Goldwater Republicans who we could call, paleo-conservatives, you could call them classical liberals, or just libertarians, really suffered and were tortured by the fact that Richard Nixon became the nominee and eventual president for the Republican Party. Because if you look at a lot of what Nixon did, it was so antithetical to everything that libertarians believe. And when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard in 1971, that was when a group of libertarians, or Goldwater conservatives, decided, they were in Colorado, I think in Denver to be exact, got together. Probably a half dozen to a dozen people got together. Probably the most notable person in the room was David Nolan, who is credited as being sort of the driving force in founding the party. He actually passed away earlier this year. And he just put the call out to a lot of his Goldwater conservative friends and said, that's it. We're not going to support a party that is going to just take us off the gold standard, and taking us off of the gold standard really has led to the kind of inflation that we see now. Oh, absolutely.
And so it started in December of 1971 and just has been growing, and really the internet is the thing that has kicked the Libertarian Party's growth into overdrive.
because it was always so tough for any third party or independent political movement to get any kind of media traction. Well, as you guys know very well, we're now in an environment. So if you don't like the media you're getting, or you don't like the media you're not getting, create your own media.
Mm-hmm,
and
absolutely.
Libertarians have done a good job of doing that and trying to get themselves into Facebook has been a huge asset in getting our message out as well. So that's sort of the, in a nutshell, history of the Libertarian Party.
Well, sir, we have about 6 minutes left. Could you please tell us some of the particular things that or issues that the LPIN is currently working on here in Indiana? I believe property taxes, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we as a state party, we have. You can go to lpin.org. and go to our About page and check out what we believe. You can also go to lp101.org. And I'll repeat that, lp101.org, and that is a website that I've put together that explains it explains the basics of what we believe as a party, some of the issues that we really care about here in Indiana, and also gives you some links to help you learn more about the philosophy in the party. And we as a state party, we really care about property tax reform, government reform, and election reform, especially. With property taxes, we'd like to eventually see property taxes totally abolished as a party. We don't believe that you should rent your home from the government. We believe that, that's a huge aspect of tax reform here in Indiana and also nationally. With electoral reform, we have a state election code that is clearly just needs to be recalled. It's been sort of taped together over the last 100 years. And as you can see with Lugar's residency, with David McIntosh in the 5th, his residency with the residency of Charlie White, our former Secretary of State. The election code doesn't give you clear rules on how to run an election or how to operate in politics in Indiana. It's now become a weapon as well, just like a tax code has. And the thing that we in America have to maintain is a confidence that when you cast a ballot, that ballot is actually counted correctly. And in my experience, it is. Sometimes it's easy to be conspiratorial, but you could go sign up to be a judge today, and I would advise everybody to do that. Sign up as a judge today and help count the ballots. So those are just a couple things, but check out lp101.org, and that will explain a little bit more about what we believe.
And sir, I'm glad you brought up David McIntosh. To my knowledge, so this guy is a resident of Virginia, yes?
I would say that I was at a debate the other night, and his family was not present, but David was.
I've heard that this guy is showing up to debates with Virginia tags on his car.
Right.
Now, I'm not really trying to say either way, but this is very interesting to me because my understanding is that the Article 1 of the Constitution, that's a no-go. Mm-hmm. So there definitely, from what I hear, seems to be some...
it's just semantics, don't worry about it.
No, I am worried about it.
It's a lot like Lugar. Lugar, in his situation, it's clear that he's been out of the state serving the state as our senator, just, much like someone going overseas would. He's guilty of not coming back more, and really connecting with Hoosiers, but you could kind of get around that. With David McIntosh, the guy lives in Virginia, as far as I can tell, and he works in Virginia, and I don't know if he has a residence here in Indiana, but it is... he hasn't been in Congress. He hasn't been serving the state over the last few years. He's been working as a lobbyist. So, I don't know his personal living situation. I'm not going to speculate, but I think he's getting criticized fairly.
Fair enough.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Residency is one of those issues in Indiana that, again, it's so unclear. There's so many places in our election code that are, and as a third party, we have the Noah's Ark of election code. It's 2 by 2 by 2. It's written for Republicans and Democrats. And every time we get to election season, I spend hours talking with the election division, trying to figure out what we as a third party should do, because there are no rules written for us. And, as rule of law people, we don't like that. We want the rules to be clear and understandable. And it's just not. So once we start electing libertarians and getting there, we can start to fix some of this stuff. But until then, I don't know how much reform we're actually going to get.
Yeah. All right, sir. Well, we're about out of time. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thanks for the interview, Chris. It was a terrific interview. Thank you.
And best of luck to you and yours.
All right. Appreciate it. Yeah. If you guys post this up online, please send it to me, and I'll be happy to spread it around.
Will do.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was again Chris Spangle, the executive director of the Libertarian Party of Indiana. On our next episode, we really want to talk to the Constitution Party of Indiana. So, see you next time.
Toll the bell for the rebels goodbye. Toll the bell.